Call the roll, please, Ms. Clerk.
Commissioner Seals.
Here.
Commissioner Plunk.
Here.
Commissioner Bowden.
On target.
Commissioner Murphy.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
City Clerk present. Police.
Here.
Fire.
Here.
Public Works.
Here.
Animal Shelter.
Here.
City Attorney.
Here.
Join me, please, in standing for a moment of silent prayer. Be seated. Commissioners, you have in your packet minutes of the special meeting of February 5th, minutes of the regular meeting of February the 9th. If you've had an opportunity to review them, I would appreciate a motion to waive a formal reading and accept them as prepared.
I'll make a motion that we accept them as prepared.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded to accept the minutes from the meetings of February 5th and February 9th. Any comments, discussion, or question? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. That part of the meeting that I call upon the department heads to make comments of their activities for the past interval between the last meeting and this one. Ms. Clerk?
Good afternoon.
Okay.
The last 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago was depositions for the city. Spent the whole week working on that. And then last week I had several bids that we're trying to get prepared. So I spent that time working on specifications. Had the plaster for the city auditorium and the boiler to try to get the heater going back in the auditorium. And that's it.
I think later on our agenda, do we not have a request that we bid for that boiler to get the heater back working in the auditorium?
Yes, we're getting permission today for that.
You lined up any companies or firms, vendors to attract bids?
I do have bids? 2 companies that I for sure I'm going to send it to. And they gave me quotes.
Commissioners, any questions?
Do you have a timetable when the boiler might be replaced?
The bids would not come in until March 23rd. So you're looking at April, May.
Okay.
Anything else?
All right, thank you.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
We are putting it out, make sure I'm not mistaken. Anybody that wants to rent the auditorium does have the understanding that it does not have heat or air that comes with it.
That is correct. We do put that out, and now we're trying to get a signature from whoever rents it, saying that they understand that there is no heat in the facility.
In the main section.
In the main section only.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Please.
Mayor, please, council, might ask to the fire. I've got a pretty lengthy PowerPoint I need to show, and then if I can, just when we get in the police department.
I think you're on
It'll take me about 25 minutes.
Okay, we'll defer you then. Fire department, Chief Douglas.
Thank you, Council. Glad y'all are here today to see what's going on in the big city of Clarksdale. Appreciate y'all being here. We just finished up a class with every fireman on the fire department with their emergency medical responders. It's a tough class, but every man dug in there and participated, so we're better covered for medical emergencies and things like that. We just basically been pulling maintenance on trucks and fighting the weather like everybody else has, and that's basically what we've done for the last 2 weeks.
Any questions, Commissioner Ward 1? Ward 2?
No, sir.
Ward 3?
Nope.
All right, 4?
Yes, sir. Chief, how many firefighting vacancies do you have?
0.
0. Outstanding.
We're staffed, completely staffed.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Public Works, Mr. Jones.
Good afternoon, everybody. Last 2 weeks, torn down 2 houses, cut 4 trees, worked on Delta Wire building, done some ditch work, alley work, worked on slagging bridges several days, and permit department wrote 41 permits.
Questions for
Yeah.
Public Works, Commissioner Warren?
Todd, quick question. I know right now you hit the button. Y'all putting slag down right now for painting on the bad weather. All right, now when the bad weather is out, what's your goals to get the slag back up off these bridges?
Sadly, I had to sweep it up with sweepers.
I mean, the sweepers are, you got them up and working?
Oh, well, I got one up and running, and the other one's being worked on now. But by the time we get ready to do that, both of them should be running.
Okay, so when the weather dissipates, you'll be able to get all that stuff back off the bridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what that snow grinder.
Yeah,
So just
we're
keep me
working
up-
on it. We still ain't got started yet.
Just keep me updated on it.
All right.
Mr. Moe?
All good?
Mr. Seaver?
No question.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jones. Step down. Animal Shelter, Mr. Harris?
Yes, sir. All right, good afternoon to the mayor, the board, and the citizens. The last 2 weeks has been somewhat uneventful at the shelter. Just really been trying to stay on top of tarps and hay and all that good stuff, keep the dogs warm outside. Would like to say we had a transport 2 weeks ago. Well, Friday before last, we ended up having 11 go to Right Way Rescue in Alton, Illinois. The last 2 weeks we've had 7 adoption and 5 surrenders. Would like to thank Ground Zero this past Saturday. They chose us for their fundraiser. And you know, we ended up bringing in a little bit of money. That always helps. Would like to thank, well, we've got several volunteers that have been coming out and helping us, especially just getting stuff handled in the afternoons when it's trying to get everything tied down and wrapped up. They've been coming and helping us on the inside, so I'd like to thank the volunteers for that. And that pretty much does it.
Mr. Plum? Mr. Murphy? No, sir. Mr. Moe? Commissioner Seals?
No question.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
All right, thank you.
Stand down. Roger.
Good afternoon. It's been a busy last couple of weeks working with the police department on some special projects with the mayor, annexation, some dealing with public works, mainly in inspection and zoning issues. And it'll take a lot of time.
Mr. Plum, question?
No question.
Mark Good?
No questions.
Not guilty.
Four?
No question.
All right, thank you, thank you. Commissioner comments. Mr. Plum?
Yes, sir, I got a couple of comments. Most of all, I want to tell Todd, tell all these guys this past weekend with all the rain, and it rained pretty much all day Friday and Saturday, that your guys, I seen them out all over town all day Saturday, wading in water, cleaning all these gutters out, trying to keep people from getting flooded, and I think they was out there pretty much all day long Saturday. Tell them I appreciate the hard work that they were doing, that they was out there doing a real good job, because I got one call, and you get a bunch of calls, but your folks was really out there working this weekend, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy?
I would also like to thank the Public Works Department for the job that they're doing. It's cold out there, and those guys in the back of these slag trucks and doing their best to keep us safe. And also, with the weather we've had, thanks to the Clarksdale Police Department, they've helped several stranded motorists out there. So thank you all for all the work that y'all do.
Thank you. 4-3.
Yes, Mayor, along with the Board of Mayor and Commissioners there, I'm proud to announce that on March the 4th, Family Youth Opportunities are sponsoring a function, information, and not only information, but if you do come there, and you have a felony, and you would be able to get it off your record free of charge, depending on what the felony is all about. Now, we know that we have our kids and family members who may have been young and did something that was stupid, and now's the opportunity for them to get it off their record. And you know, a lot of people can't vote because of that. And here's the opportunity to have a right to be able to vote by getting it expunged. Also, too, we have a lot of people here in Clarksdale and the surrounding areas that's having a hard time to find a job because they have a felony on their record. Now, if they come to 347 Essequina Avenue, March the 4th at 4 o'clock, they will be able to have help as far as to get their record expunged. And also, too, I'd like to report that there was a meeting Sunday in the black community with black constituents, and they was very upset that our mayor have announced that there was only black people involved in the CPU situation. And it was clearly pointed out that not only blacks was involved in this, but whites too as well. I believe my name was hollered several times. Commissioner Plunk's name was never hollered, but he was involved with it too as well. And that's not right to be dividing the town on racial issues like that. I mean, if blacks did it and whites did it, then they should be called out too as well. You know, not make everything one side, not make it seem like it's racial. And that's what it turned out to be. There was personnel information leaked out, and it shouldn't have been leaked out. I'm very anxious to find out who leaked it out. You know, I'm quite sure that'll be very interesting too, as well. Now, our mayor indicated that he wants to be fair, and he's saying that he's not prejudiced or anything. And what's happening here, he said that he removed these 3 blacks off of the board for some reasons. And one of the reasons that he pointed out, it was about personal gain. And the people who met last night indicated that if Bobby Huggins, who is a CPU commissioner, if he had his flight bills held, then that was for personal gain. That means that he had opportunities to go and pay other bills besides CPU bills, and take that money, CPU money, bills, and not only go pay other bills, but could very well have been for going out to dinner or things of that nature on that line. So, Mayor, if you're going to be fair, and this man is a CPU board member, and just like you told the rest of the board members for their personal gain, that too was for his personal gain, Bobby Huggins. Well, he took CPU money and he did something else with it rather than pay his bill on time. So, if you're going to be, if you're going to show the people that you're going to be fair, and you just not on a witch hunt for black people, then you go out to Bobby Huggins, and we're looking forward to hear from you. The committee is looking forward to hear you take care of that by the next board meeting.
I wish you'd bring me some facts. When was this to have taken place with Bobby Huggins? When?
But the lawyer mentioned his name.
When did it take place?
The lawyer, man, you know when it takes place. Well, I tell you,
I'd like to know when it took place.
Well, I tell you what,
not in the audit this last time that led to the findings by the.
Well, you said they are still doing research, right?
They are.
Okay,
I'd like to know when this took place.
Or if they do your research and look up Bobby Huggins then.
Well, do you know when it happened?
Do your research and look up Bobby Huggins.
I've asked you a question. Do you know when it happened?
I told you the answer. Do your research and look up Bobby Huggins. That's all you got to do. He is a commissioner. He's still on that board. Ask for him to resign and get off of it.
Well, I'll do the research, all right. But if you know when it was, I'll know when to target a date to get it.
Well, all you had to do is just do. The only thing you had to do is do your job.
It wasn't in the report that was generated by the independent auditor.
Well, from my understanding, it should have been there. His name was mentioned. Why wasn't it?
In fact, the name was mentioned a lawyer representing the three board members is of no import. There's no established fact at all along those lines, and if we knew about when it happened, we could go look.
Well, the only thing you had to do is ask CPU about Bobby Huggins. Let's do a search on him then.
I plan to do that.
Okay, great. I imagine within 30 days we should have the information, and he should be brought before this council with a special meeting just like the three Blackwoods, and we can remove him.
I'm not going to respect anybody's color. If they're guilty of something, they should suffer the consequences. Chips fall where they may, and if there are facts that support any other finding, I'd be happy to hear them.
Great. So therefore, we're looking at 30 days. You look it up, and
well,
we have Bobby Huggins.
I will ask that it be done by the attorney for the city to the attorney for CPU.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, anybody, Commissioner Seals, comment time?
Yes, sir. There is a dilapidated building at the corner of McKinley Avenue and Highway 161. This building, I believe, used to be an old nightclub. It has become an eyesore, and it definitely needs some attention.
Commissioner Seals?
Yes, sir.
Is that one on our agenda today?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Anything else?
Oh, that's it.
All right, thank you. An opportunity to make some comments. I'm pleased to announce that this past week, a movement headed up by an individual I've come to know over the last year and a half or so named Aubrey Preston from Franklin, Tennessee, is planning a big launch of a project called the Americana Music Triangle. There have been very careful planning, all paid for, I believe, by Mr. Preston himself, that has resulted in the defining of a geographic territory that generally is marked by Nashville, Memphis, and New Orleans, although there's a little offshoot for Lafayette, Louisiana, and maybe go a little further north into Kentucky to grab a bluegrass museum in the mix. But he says his research reveals, and he's had some of the best music writers in the country and researchers doing this, that 9 music genres emanated from this particular triangle. He has very methodically and very diligently put together what he calls the Gold Record Road, which is a travel guide that will be an application on a phone, accessible on the internet, that will guide visitors all through this area. The launch itself is going to take place with a bus and vehicle motorcade that's going to start in Franklin, Tennessee about May the 3rd or 4th. And the finale will be here in Clarksdale at 3 o'clock on Thursday, May 7th. It's going to start, as I said, it's inauguration of this in Franklin, then on down to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, where some of the world's best music was started, including multiple well-known international and national acts. In fact, the Rolling Stones recorded several songs there. And then on from Muscle Shoals, it's coming over to Tupelo, the birthplace of Elvis. And then from there down to New Orleans and over to Lafayette, Louisiana, then back up to Helena, Arkansas, and then the finale will be here. So I wanted to call everybody's attention to that because we expect a big crowd. It'll be almost as big as a mini juke joint festival, I believe. Letting the chief of police know to be ready and letting our citizens know to come have a good time and participate in this. It's going to rely on the internet and social media primarily for getting the word out to people, especially from Europe and Australia, who frequent our city often. His research has indicated that even a city like Nashville really can't hold a tourist more than 2 or 3 nights before they're ready to move on. His research has revealed that the average stay for a European coming to the United States is between 2 and 3 weeks. So the idea is to share these tourists around. If you look at this triangle on a world map, it's but a tiny part. So it's a lift up your assets and pass the ball and get the word out. That's what I'm telling everybody or suggesting that we do. So look forward to that. And looking forward to something else coming up in just a minute with our Keep America Beautiful, Keep Mississippi Beautiful Clarksdale affiliation. And it appears that that is in fact next on our agenda, is it not, Ms. Clerk?
It is.
All right, we've got friends from Chicago and Jackson with us, sitting on the front row there. I understand that a large committee has been put in place, and we thank Linda Walford and who else was involved? Mac Frank and others on this committee. In fact, if you're on the committee and out in the audience, would you stand up, please? That's wonderful. All right. Well, this is our induction ceremony. So, Sue from Chicago, we're all with you there. You've got the podium now, and thank you for this wonderful occasion.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be in a place like Clarksdale, Mississippi. My family's from Mississippi, and although I was taken north by gypsies after the war, I always came home to Mississippi. So when this assignment came available to Keep America Beautiful, which is headquartered in Stamford, Connecticut, I raised my hand quickly to come and be a part of Keep Mississippi Beautiful. And so it's with great pride I tell you today, Mayor and Council, and all department heads gathered. For those of you in this community, congratulations. You've done so much already. And my job today is to tell you that people came together 4 months ago, and we had a meeting, a full long-day training, to learn about the problems, the concerns, the broken windows, the weeds, the abandoned properties, the illegal automobiles, all the things that can bring a community down. Keep America Beautiful was founded in 1953, and you are the approximate 600th city in our country to be members today. I'm joined by Sarah Cantoris and Neely Norman from Keep Mississippi Beautiful, and there are, Sarah, how many cities? 36. 36 communities as of today joining Keep America Beautiful. I left behind homework. I'm a recycled school teacher, and I left behind homework for your committee to do, and I want you to know that they have done that work. They met all the qualifications. We reviewed the work. We spent another day training today and laid out a plan. And our plan will be to keep Clarksdale beautiful and possibly make it even more beautiful along the way. And so from our CEO, Jennifer Jane in Stamford, Connecticut, and our chilly home in Chicago, thanks to the invitation, no thanks to the snow, I offer you today congratulations on behalf of our board of directors to keep Clarksdale beautiful, because today, on the 23rd of February, 2015, Keep America Beautiful's mission now goes to Clarksdale, Mississippi, and we challenge you to take that which you already have, preserve it, care for it, love it, and make it even more beautiful, because I'm hoping to get an invitation back and check up on it.
Good. You're going to get that.
So please accept this on behalf of a grateful nation, knowing that work can be done and the right work will be done here in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let's get the mayor. In fact,
Move over here.
yeah.
There's a lot of
Nailed everybody.
Let's get the fruit.
Let's get the whole group. They did the work. We just brought this here. You go Sarah. Here's yours.
I'm gonna wait and just get plugged in at the end.
Get them in.
Get inside.
You're tall. I'll get in front of you.
I'm very tall.
Now, get down there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, come around. We can have some chairs with
Down here, somebody lie down here.
There we go.
Come on, Neely. Yeah.
Look up, y'all. Look up, there you go.
Put your hand down now.
Can you tilt it this way? There we go. Thank you.
Straighten it up, you got a grip.
Great.
They're always critics.
Everybody's a critic.
One more. Okay.
Thank you all so much. Nicely framed too. We very gladly and proudly accept that designation, and certainly appreciate the effort you made to drive down from Chicago. Thank you very much for that, and thank you, Sarah, for coming up. You and Eddie from Central Mississippi today.
Thank you, Mayor.
Now, we were looking at the weather, thinking about whether we should cancel this meeting, and I said, look,
Absolutely
if
not.
we would get here from Central Mississippi and Chicago, we will be at the meeting.
That's exactly right.
Thank you all.
Just go back out and back to the police department.
That is an unknown.
We're in charge there.
She snuck out.
Okay, Ms. Clerk, that was exciting to be inducted. I like it. What's next on the agenda?
We have Ben Ernest and Chuck Simpson. Ben and Chuck.
See, they're both here. They're walking up. Won't mind share the podium, please. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. Ben, I'm Chuck Simpson. Last fall, the mayor and I discussed community garden, and we talked about how the community would get together, have a spot where volunteers would work on these spots themselves, keep them up, and just have an education for the people. And so after a couple of meetings, Ben and I got together, and we had a good hour, 45-minute meeting about sharing. At first we were talking around the ductile wire, old factory out front. But then it was brought up that, you know, if we can get a memorandum of understanding, and that's what I'm going to request today, that the mayor and the board would have a memorandum of understanding with the county to be able to have the community garden possibly at the expo center. This is where Mr. Ben comes from, so this is where he comes in on. And that way the city and the county will be working together with the Oklahoma County Youth Outreach and Board of Supervisors and just volunteers from the community themselves. We'll have McCarty, what is it?
We're also working with some other organizations as well that are involved in the gardening aspect. Meraki Job Training as well as GRIO are two of the other programs that are getting involved in community gardening. And what better space than to bring everybody together, city, county, and private organizations, than at the newly renovated community center. Got a long way to go with it, but this is the first step in getting that partnership together to show that all agencies can work together for a common community purpose.
And that's what I'm requesting today, is that we go take the next step to work with the county and get the MOU drawn up and approach the Board of Supervisors. Ben and I will take care of that. But we have a lot of backing as far as Lowe's, Walmart. We got there's funds out there, and we're gonna have. We plan. Our general idea is to have raised gardens that are 10 by 10, 10 foot by 10 foot, and have sales where either 3 to 5 people are tending to one raised garden each. Depending on the volunteers and the number of volunteers, that's how many plots we'll have. And then we'll decide, but we're having an organizational meeting March the 3rd at 6 o'clock at the Expo Center.
March 3rd at 6 at the Expo Center.
Mm-hmm. And we're getting the word out now, and we expect a lot of people. I mean, it's a lot. We've been talking it up, and we expect a lot of volunteers, and anybody in here wants to volunteer. We'll be looking forward to be working with you. But Ben and I will hold that meeting, and we're gonna get rules. It's just an organizational meeting, and we're gonna get this thing going. And like Ben said, we're gonna get the city and the county working together. And anything else?
No, I think this is a great opportunity though, because to utilize the space. Because where we are, we already have restrooms, we already have a tractor that we can make available for moving dirt and that type of stuff. There's already water running on the property as well as electricity.
Well, thank you, both of you. And Ben, I know I talked with Chuck and had kind of outlined a plot at Delta Wire and had some mulching underway and had a farmer lined up to help. But when I was out at an event and you and I got together, it appeared to me that the Expo Center did have working restrooms, tool shed, some cover for like a Saturday morning produce sale to teach some entrepreneurship activities, that sort of thing. So it looked to be a more promising site, and thank you for inviting us to join in with you and combine our efforts. It's really better not to duplicate the effort in the same part of town, in my view. So this is probably going to be a good solution to solve some of our problems, and hopefully we can bring something to the table with Mr. Crank and the grant writer helping get some of the Lowe's and Home Depot and other grant money and in-kind available. So any questions by this board about this project?
No, that's all being said, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we'll approve there and give my MOU on.
All right, so you're making a motion. Second. Mr. Seals seconds the motion to for me to direct the city attorney to work with the county board's attorney to get a memorandum of understanding put together regarding participation and that sort of thing regarding the community garden.
Good, I appreciate it very much.
Any further questions or comments?
Well, Mayor, I think what they're doing is great, you know. But I do think that our city and our county need to be finding jobs for people so they can go to the grocery store and buy their own food. But what you're doing is great, but the city and the county must get together and find jobs to help people in that way, also than growing food for them.
All right, any further questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. I'd like to charge each of the commissioners as well as charge myself with seeing that we each get at least 3 volunteers to come to the organizational meeting on March 3rd.
Yes, sir.
At the Expo Center. Let's all get together and bring this community together to do this garden. Thank you. I'll see you out there. I'll be there. Thank you.
What time is that, Chuck?
6 o'clock.
And Mr. Simpson, there is at least a tentative list up in my office, if we can locate it, of some volunteers, and we took some phone calls. So check for that, please, too, with Ms. Dixon. Thank you. All right, next, please, Ms. Clerk.
Mark Taylor. This would be our recycling coordinator.
Thank you, Commissioners and Mayor.
Mark.
Since I did the little slideshow for you, which was about a month ago, I've been in 5 schools. Up to that point, I had not done anything with the county. I went to 4 schools for the county, and tomorrow, their high school is bringing 20 bags of recycling. They've been recycling for 2 months, so I'm really excited about that. What I'm here today is to ask you for permission to apply for a grant. It's all about bins that will be only for bottles and cans, and they will be in the county and the city. And they have to be for government agencies. I've done a table and listed all the fire stations and all the different places, and I want to put bins in those places.
And that bin is, those bins are available through a grant, are they not?
They're available through a grant of Coca-Cola, and they can either have Coca-Cola on them or they can have Keep America Beautiful on them.
We just got an affiliation with Keep Clarksdale Beautiful, part of Keep Mississippi Beautiful, part of Keep America Beautiful. Why don't we designate that be on the cans then?
Okay.
Is that all right with everybody on the board? Show that. All right. Do you need any permission? Let's get a motion. Is there a second? Moved and seconded that we apply for this grant with Coca-Cola for these bins to put around the public agencies in the county and in the city. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor saying aye. Aye. You opposed say nay. Thank you, Ms. Taylor, for your continued good work. And before you leave the podium, let me point out, and maybe there's a question or a follow-up to what I'm going to say. Ms. Taylor works for both the city and the county. We and the county are matching funds to employ her and apply for grants, and she's done a good job. And if you're not already using the recycle bins, they're just past Walmart, and they're labeled, and it's hard to make a mistake. Cardboard, mixed paper, cans, and plastic bottles. Take the caps off the bottles. If you can crush the cans, easy for me. I just step on one. It's down in a hurry. Crush them down, put them in the bins. And how many tons have you hauled off now since you've been working?
7 tons at the end of January.
7 tons. Good for you. Very good. Any questions of Ms. Taylor?
Just keep it up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, please.
Ralph Simpson.
Simpson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
I come back before you about the property on 317 Issaquena. So far, we've gotten one appraisal, and we're going to get another one this week. And what I come before you to ask is, once we get the other appraisal, would you allow the attorney to go ahead and do the paperwork and that is necessary in order for me to purchase the property?
Yeah, I think the idea was to get 2, and we had it lined up, or you did, and Mr. Bosher did, and then one of the appraisers had a health issue, and that's delayed us, but you said there's another on the way.
All right, I talked to him today, Mr. Simpson, and contacted him. And I think what we'll have to do is that if we're going to get it at the next board meeting, the board will have to get the appraisals, and what I think would happen would be the blending of the 2, but we can have all of the paperwork ready, so at the next board meeting, the board can bless it and we can finish it up.
Has anyone addressed any environmental issue? I met with Mr. Simpson privately this week about that, and he thinks there were merely some pipes that used to run under there, but we need to make sure the city doesn't have some bad environmental fallback.
That's understanding when it was brought up that you instructed Mr. Bosher to find out to make sure that we wouldn't have no problem with the EOQ for this, because like I said, the deal was made with Mr. Simpson a couple of years ago to do this, and I don't know what now we're finally fixing to do it, but I know you instructed him to find out, and I told Mr. Simpson, as long as the EPA says no problem, I don't see what we.
Well, I don't think DEQ is going to give us an opinion necessarily, but I think, if the cities, we get this thing done, Mr. Simpson takes it as it is. He knows that.
Can I address that?
Yes, sir. Please, that's why I brought it up. Please address it, because we don't want a liability on us once we transfer.
Several service stations within the city of Clarksdale have been purchased by other people, and the liability of them goes along, like he said, even to the point in which I bought the old age barbershop from Holmes Petty, and I bought it from him as is. There's no tanks up under the railroad track. It is totally against the EPA and federal law to put a tank on somebody else's property. The thing that you see up under the track is in the early 50s, and they brought the rail in with the gas, and they dumped it in the pipe, and the pipe ran into the tanks. The tanks are in the front of the place. The service station was sold right there where you see Old Church's Chicken. As is, the service station right here at 1st Street, the Sunflower, as is. And this is the way that I was purchased. All the rights that the county had owned to the property, if there was some, they voted and gave them to me and my wife free of charge. Say whatever it is, it's theirs. And so I would doubt if the EPA or anyone else would find any problems as it relates to the property in which I'm trying to purchase.
Well, if they do, it's as is on you, is the way I understand it. Okay. Now, thank you then. Any other commissioner have any questions?
Well, Mayor, let's make sure that at the next board meeting, this whole thing is over, the appraisal is in, and let's get this done. It's been going on too long.
I think we're ready and in agreement on that.
Several years old, predates me. I know.
I totally agree, and I thank you for your patience.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Next, please.
Milton Gardner.
Mr. Gardner, when you reach the podium, don't speak yet. Mr. Gardner, no, sir, don't. I'm not going to allow you to speak today, and here's why. You filled out the proper form to be appearing before this board, and you are on the agenda because you filled out a form. But the content, which is in the portion, please state subject to be discussed, is identical to the content that you've been before this board with on several other occasions.
And let me address you
just a minute,
to why you have answered me. Why have not Bo Plunk and Kenny Murphy been removed from office for violating the city charter and state law?
And slanderous attacks.
No, it's not slanderous. This is factual, and I got it from the Clarksdale Press Register.
I'm not going to allow you to speak. You interrupted.
I know because you're a racist and you're a bigot.
All right, let's make sure we maintain order, please.
Excuse me, sir. You know, y'all need to go ahead and sit down. Welcome. That's my constitutional right to speak. Now you put your hands on me.
Ms. L., I see you're next. And likewise, I've looked at the subject to be discussed, and this is exactly the same subject. In fact, this handout we got is virtually identical to one you presented to this board multiple times. Your subject says you're going to talk about the sins and crimes being committed against the indigenous people by me and Mr. Plunk and Mr. Murphy, and that this organized crime agenda in which you repeatedly call me a criminal and a gangster.
You are.
That is, sir, I'd keep the peace back there if I were you. Let me speak, please. This is the same thing we've heard repeatedly, and unless and until you get something new to talk about that's not personal attack, that's not slanderous of any member up here, and that's pertinent to city business, if you come up with something like that you want to talk about, you are welcome, you and Mr. Gardner. But just a continued, repeated attack of the same subject. Ma'am, please, I'm speaking. Ma'am. Listen until you come up with something that's pertinent and not a personal attack and not
First Amendment rights.
Okay, if you're going to continue to speak and interrupt, I'm going to have to get you removed from the meeting room. I'm trying to tell you something. If you come up with something that pertains to city business, you are welcome as a citizen to come share it with this board. But unless and until you do that, these subjects are going to be taboo from now on. You've had 4 opportunities already to talk about it. Thank you. What's next on the agenda, please?
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Before we move on there, I was listening at WRX this morning, with you speaking on WRX this morning, and you was indicating that if someone come down and they fill the form out they had a right to speak. The form does not say that you can only speak one time on something or 2 times on something. You can speak about, you indicate you can speak about whatever you want to speak about. It did not say that you could not repeat yourself. So I mean, hold on, man, let me finish.
Go ahead. You will finish. Go ahead.
The only thing I'm saying, Mayor, is that if it's going to be that way, then you need to have it on the form. It needs to be on the form to be recognized.
And that will be sent to the United Nations.
Well, the form just says the subject to be discussed. The way the form is filled out is the same discussion topic we've heard multiple times, and the rules of decorum in these meetings provide that you can't come in here and make personal attacks.
One more word, you're out. You like it, don't you?
Yeah, I like it. Get out now. Get out.
I'll get out, but you don't have to touch me.
No, if you don't get out, I'm gonna remove you out physically.
Well,
leave then.
Well, you don't have to holler at me, man. I'm a human being. You don't have to holler at me. Mayor, tell them to stop hollering at me. I'm leaving. I'm leaving, sir. Take your hands off of me.
You need to leave.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Let me out. What you want to handcuff me for? I'm leaving. I'm leaving, sir. You blocking me. You blocking me. How am I get out?
Let's have order. Thank you, Commissioner Steele.
Don't push me. Just, I'll talk to you. Come on, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Just talk to me. Come on.
Come on.
I want to announce for the record that our decorum rules provide that no one is to come in and make personal attacks, slanderous remarks, or impertinent comments addressing this board. So, put down the right subject, you're welcome to talk. If you come in making personal attacks and you do it 4 and 5 times, I've been very tolerant of this. These are exactly the same subject matters we have heard over and over and over again. And again, it's wasting the city council's time to hear the same thing for the 5th time when they constitute violations of our decorum. So to answer your question, Mr. Muggen, if people want to come talk and put down a subject matter that involves city business and is not personal attacks on people, they're welcome to do it. I'm as much a liberal on free speech as you'll find in this country probably, but to get the same indigenous people handouts and speeches 5 times is a waste of time, and I'm not going to permit it. Thank you.
Right, Mayor. I think you are right on that, but I do think all of it could have very well been started from your secretary coming down to have personal attacks with me, Commissioner Seals, along with my wife. I think that's where that comes from. So we need to be careful as far as things coming back to hunters.
This has nothing to do with my secretary and anything she said. This is repeated attacks, and that's why I put a stop to it. What's next, please? Yes, ma'am.
The county has a grant to obtain storm warning sirens, and they're needing permission for us to give them a letter saying that it's okay to place these sirens in 2 areas in the city.
So moved.
Second. Any comments, discussion, or questions on this?
Yes, where those sirens would be located at?
It was Willow Park and Sassy Street. We really don't have to say in the areas that they're going to be put.
County is dictating where
This
they
is
go. Willow Park, Sassy, or different locations.
Okay.
All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Seals, for confusing that situation just then.
Need permission for the mayor to execute the letter of authorization for advanced mosquito control. This is for aerial.
Aerial applications?
Yes.
Second.
Any questions or comments before we vote, or I call the vote? This program seems to work to me. I mean, our mosquito population is way down, and if any of you commissioners in your ward see that it is out of balance with the rest of the city, let me know, and we'll make sure they do a second pass or something on those areas. I know they fly this river from north to south pretty well, and it really holds down the mosquito population. So, all in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed say nay. Motion carries. We'll take care of that.
Permission to advertise for a boiler for the heat in the main auditorium of the city auditorium.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. We had a little discussion on this earlier during your presentation, Ms. Clerk. Any further questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries. And before we move to the next item on the agenda, I do want to add something to my earlier comments. I see Angela Hare here. Her son was made an official Eagle Scout on Sunday at St. Paul's Methodist Church. You know, Eagle Scouts constitute about 2% of the scouting population in this country, and it's quite an accomplishment. And the scouting rules require only 21 merit badges to qualify for Eagle Scout. He had earned 43, and of the 21, 13 of them are like non-electives. They're mandatory, and of those they include citizenship to the community, citizenship to the nation, and citizenship to the world, and he had earned all three of those as well. So congratulations to you. What's next, Ms. Clerk?
Permission to pay miscellaneous claims.
Move. Seconded.
Moved and seconded to pay this list of claims on page 5 of the agenda. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, the advanced mosquito deal, which we just talked about, that payment there, is that a once, how often do we make that payment?
I'm sorry.
How often is this $17,000 payment made annually?
We didn't get those in the monthly bills. This payment is monthly that you see on here.
Okay.
And they didn't make it in the monthly bills, so we're having to do it as miscellaneous claims this time.
Okay.
That's a monthly amount, year round?
Yes.
Mosquitoes or not?
We just spread it out.
They're not.
Yeah, spread over 12 months. All right. All in favor of paying the miscellaneous claims, say aye. Opposed, say nay.
And we do these by proposals, so.
Yeah.
Question, is this the same company that we normally have?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
They were here.
Great. They're doing a fantastic job.
Next up, please.
School board, we'd like to appoint Joe Howard at large.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That's my appointment. I want to give a little bit of history. This is a mayoral at-large appointment that has been filled and filled well by Miss Shirley Fair for the last 4 years. I met with her to see if she sought reappointment. She said no, she was going to step down. I think her term ends the end of this month, like 5 days from now, and the new board member would take his or her office on March 1st. And I have chosen to appoint Joe Howard to the position of school board. Any questions or comments?
I know Joe Howard.
Joe Howard. Joe
So
Howard. He's the manager owner of Delta Bus Lines.
Second.
You make the motion.
Seconded that we approve my appointment of Joe Howard. Any further questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Please let Mr. Howard know, because I think their next meeting may be next week.
Okay.
We'll need to take the necessary oath bond and what have you. And next, please.
Public Utility Board would like to appoint James Hicks Jr.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This again is a mayoral at-large appointment. I've met with Mr. James Hicks. He has experience already on this board, having served on it 3 years some time ago. He is willing to take the position and fill out the unexpired term of Mr. Clark, who was removed from the board at our special meeting last week. Any questions or comments about James Hicks Jr. being appointed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carried. If you'll likewise, Ms. Clerk, that meeting is tomorrow, I understand. They meet the second and fourth Tuesdays at 4:15 at the CPU building. Would you let him know of this board decision today so he can make plans to be there tomorrow?
I will.
Thank you. What's next on the agenda, please?
I have the sales tax report. It was down from last year, $12,487. It still was an amount that exceeded the budget, and so put us over $18,000.
So moved to acknowledge.
I would not have to acknowledge it in the minutes. That's just.
Which way does over mean? Are we good or bad on the over?
We're good.
Well, that's good. Thank you. Over means good here, not over budget, which means bad usually.
That's right, or under budget.
Wherever. All righty. Well, thank you very much for that announcement. What's next, please, ma'am?
Would like to offer employment and hire contingent upon passing the city requirements. Johnny King.
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Jones, I always ask the department head and their position on these appointments, or these, in this case, hirings. Do you know Mr. King?
No, I don't know him personally.
Has he applied properly?
He has.
Was the job posted, Mr. Clerk, properly?
It was.
And was any other applicant considered?
Well, nobody within applied for it.
Okay, and he was the applicant, the only applicant?
Well, outside, no, he was not.
All right, but he's your choice?
Yes, sir.
All right, anybody have any comments or questions of Mr. Jones about this particular applicant? I don't know him either.
I just hope he be a good one and make sure all the truck tires stay up.
All right, anybody else have any comments? Been moved, did we get a motion in a second? I don't know where it came from. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries, and this is a contingent hire, I understand, passing the requirements. All right.
Correct.
Thank you.
We have status changes, I have a couple of longevity increases, and then completion of introductory period in public works.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded to recognize these status changes with Ms. Wells, Mr. Rybolt, Mr. Bumball. Any comments or questions or further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries.
We had, just FYI, this was a run that's coming up this Saturday. Delta State University is sponsoring a Healthy Campus Community.
Where is it going to be? Do you know? Is it the Q-Trail?
It's where it was this one.
Start
It's going to start at on East Clark.
Yeah, that's Q.
That's where the health initiative is in the future map.
So this is an HCCI event with Delta State involved. So what time will it be? You have that on your list, Chief?
8:15.
It's a walk run. I'm gonna be a walker.
They're making a lot of turns. There's a whole list of turns. They're
Okay.
gonna go around in circles.
But what's the start time was my question.
8:15.
All right, 8:15, all right. Anything we need to do by way of board action other than direct the chief to give them their security for the trail?
Right, they've already contacted them, no board action.
Thank you.
Permission for Officer Bell to work off duty.
So move.
Seconded.
And he understands the parameters where we allow that up to 20 hours a week.
That is on the form that they have to fill out,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
They agree to those terms.
Any questions or comments on Officer Bell working at Jonestown part-time? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay.
Mayor, correction, that actually starts at 9 o'clock.
Okay, 9 o'clock,
Yes,
thank you.
they're gonna start taking registration at 8:30, but it starts at 9.
Thank you very much. All right, all in favor say aye again.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries to get Officer Bell. You'll let him know that, please, Chief.
Yes, sir.
One of you chiefs. Next, please.
Permission for Officer Lampkin to work off duty.
So move. Seconded.
Okay, and likewise, form has the restriction on it. This is Jonestown as well.
Jonestown.
All right, any questions or comments? Moved and seconded to allow Officer Antonio Lampkin to work part-time at Jonestown PD. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries.
At this point is the police chief's turn.
Yeah,
I need to ask you one question before we move. That was on Brian Jordan, not sure
I'd like to get permission to waive the agenda to purchase a vehicle, 2 vehicles in the police department.
Somehow it didn't
So
get
moved.
transferred. Second. My agenda, but it didn't get transferred.
Oh, I see. All
So
right.
here's a copy where I signed off on it, just didn't get to y'all, apparently, it's the top.
What kind of vehicle you
These will
looking
be
at?
Ford Police Interceptor Utilities. These are like the SUVs
Yes, sir.
that we have a couple of or 3 of already.
Yes, sir.
Is this a competitive state contract price? And what are we gonna do with the old ones? Do we have any?
We don't have, well, we don't
Retire
have
the
any
cars.
old.
Hire some old sedans?
Yes.
I see. All right. Is this in the budget, ma'am?
Yes, this is. So now I need permission to purchase 2 SUVs within the police department under state contract from,
So already got it.
no, that was permission to waive, yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I made motion.
And this is something that we do
Yeah,
budget
this
each
was an
year.
omitted item, because I see Officer Bell, Officer Lampkin, and everything.
Yeah, it was on there, it just
Yeah,
didn't transfer.
Just didn't get it over. Okay. Any further comments or discussion on this?
No, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Get them painted, ordered and painted.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, the floor is yours, Chief.
Give that to you.
I'm waiving the time limitation for you because you told me this is about a 15 to 20 minutes.
Get it on that first slide, we'll kind of put it over here. Hopefully, I can get done with this in about 15 minutes. Maybe 20. Well, this is gonna be pretty important. You know, over the last year or so, actually, when I first became police chief, the police department was kind of in uncharted waters. Nobody's fault, no leader's fault, no fault of the council or the city. But the command position was failed to be put into play. And what I mean by that, when I first became the chief in October 2012, for the first time in the history of this police department, there were no captains in the patrol division. And that's based on the longevity of the years without the test and the course retirements. Historically, you'll see in the PowerPoint, you know, we go 6 to 7 years sometimes without promotions. You know, as a chief, you got to look at things that are going to be better for the department. And in all of our training, one of the biggest problems in law enforcement agencies today is retention of young people, millennials. So these people are task-oriented. They have short-term goals. What I mean by task-oriented is you give them a specific task, and once they're through, they don't proceed to the next step. When somebody our age would factor in common sense and just do what we need to do. But agencies are having this problem everywhere, even federal agencies. At the last conference we went to, there was a federal agent that spoke on this, that they're having a hard time retaining federal employees because they start to work on Monday and then on Friday they want to be a colonel or a major. And the one reason I want to present it to you is because, you know, 15 or 20 years ago when this was put into play, you know, it was a good idea and it worked. But as the leaders of the city and as the command staff, we need to make some changes. We need to make a decision of whether or not we can make the PD flow more successfully and make the employees happy. What I've got up on the wall here, I just want to kind of start it out. It's going to kind of be a two-phase thing. Sorry for walking in front of it. But when you talk about, you got a little pointer there. When you talk about fighting crime, this is just a model. And when you can't retain officers, these are some of the things that you lose, because you see this long term right here. That's what we're looking for. Officers get started. This model kind of goes along, and then you get the short term right there is what we run into, just the average. And then you have your private security company. And as you come down, this is just a breakdown of what you get through your long-term deterrence right here. Short term, this is all you're going to get. This is what you're going to get: proactive policing and reactive policing. Riding around in the car, answering calls, ordinance and writing tickets, traffic control, zero tolerance, and criminal investigations are on the bottom. But if we can make some key changes to retain these officers, this will make that loop. This will make this loop into here, and that's what I, as a chief, is, you know, basically what I'm looking for. The number of officers that we retain, you know, we go from 36, and then we went to 34, then we went back to 36, and currently we're at 43. And I do appreciate the council for working with me and being very supportive to get to that number. But your manpower is where you get your proactive patrols, where you have enough people to stay out there that they're not answering calls back to back, that you've got that free unit that the citizens can see riding around. That leads to a better public perception, which leads to crime detection, because the citizens know, understand, and start trusting the officers, and they start talking to them. which ultimately, hopefully, would lead to an arrest. And I think that that's, you know, that's what the council would want, that's what the citizens would want, obviously that's what the command staff wants. This is a basic structure of the police department. It is old. There is a structure on file. I would ask that you not pay attention to that. You probably couldn't read it anyway. But I felt like it was important that you see the main structure in the police department. This is our patrol division right here. This is the biggest part. It's the backbone. It's the structure that holds all this up. These are some civilians. These are the command staff. But these 4 important squares right here, yellow ones, have been missing for a long time. They haven't been filled just because of the retirement, people leaving, and the current test procedures being in delays. So after we looked at this, I met with my command staff, which is Captain Bridges, Assistant Chief Robbie Lindley, Captain Mark Haynes, and Assistant Chief Milton Williams. And we spoke on this in length several times on how could we conform the police department into a modern day career structure and it be fair to everybody who's here. And I included Curtis in this, and we had multiple conversations and looking at the characteristics of the way we do things now. And of course, y'all know in the last couple of weeks we talked about the new promotional test. So I got with Kathy, and I got the current position adjustment. And this is the way you start currently in the police department. Once the council hires them and they become introductory officer, this is what they start at. And then this is their title, Patrol Introductory Officer. Once they complete that process and they get certified with less than 2 years experience, we call them a patrol officer. Now bear in mind, there's no identification marking to distinguish between these two people. They have a different paycheck, but in the law enforcement community or our eyes or the citizens, there is no distinguishable mark between that. Then we go to 3, which is Patrol Senior Certified with 2 years experience. So they're making this way down, but there's no distinguishable difference. The only thing you can see is the pay. And what I'm saying is if you saw this officer at Walmart, you would not be able to distinguish him from this officer. He would have the exact same markings, the exact same uniform. The only thing is if he would let you look at the paycheck, you would know, well, he's making more than this guy. Then they get the corporal first, which is a class tested position. That's a tested position inside the police department currently under our structure. And then they move to Corporal 2, was just a longevity structure. Basically would be a year after this, they would jump to that salary. Now, if you see this officer, these 3 officers, and this officer, you're going to recognize the difference because he's going to have a rank on his sleeve, none in here, but he would have the 2 chevrons facing down. You would be able to recognize the difference between them. As we go on, they move on to sergeant, sergeant second, captain, which we all know that they're going to have rank on their sleeves on these, and then the captain's going to have the gold that Mark has on there. The assistant chiefs, which we changed the appointed, and these positions currently have education benchmarks. The last promotional test that the city provided for the police department was in 2009. We got to looking at those tests and trying to figure out which test cost the most, which test would be cost ineffective, and what I mean by that is having a lot of officers taking it and nobody passing it. And it was going to be the corporal test. 9 officers took this test. They all had the time frame and experience. Some of them well past the time frame. Only 5 officers in the police department passed it. And that's at $1,000 per man.
5 out of 9.
Yes, sir. But the test was the payment was based on this figure right here. What we paid the testing company and the lawyers.
That was
$1,000
each.
Yes, sir. And that's not including man hours and legal fees after talking to Curtis. And I just put this 10,000, but it could possibly be well more than that. So you can see how much money we're losing by giving that particular test.
You ask questions now, or you just gonna go through the whole
Just
thing?
kind of go through, and then we'll whatever we don't understand, I'll do my best to have one of them, because they're very familiar with it as well. So these are the proposed changes that I would like to bring forward to you today and let you think about it and see what you think. Salaries will remain the same. The salary is going to remain the same. That's why I didn't place them. But the identifiers will be different. The identifiers are going to be different on each officer. When we hire, we're going to bring him in as that introductory officer just like we did. Once he becomes certified with less than 2 years, he will receive private rank, which will be 1 chevron on his sleeve on both sides. Once he is certified with over 2 years experience, he will receive private first class rank. And that will be an extra chevron, the little loop on the bottom. The corporal first class certified with 3 years experience will be a non-tested position. They will not have to take a test for this position. They will receive that rank when they become certified and have 3 years experience. They will automatically be promoted to a corporal, which will be the double chevrons. Yeah, I went everywhere. This thing is sensitive.
That's where you were. That's where you're right.
All right. This is the next slide. The corporal second is going to be just like the longevity structure. They'll get it after the 5 years, which is just going to be a simple pay increase. The sergeant, which is going to be a tested position. This requires 6 years of service with at least 1 year rank as corporal police department. Will remain a tested position. The sergeant will remain a tested position because under the 12-hour shift, they are a supervisor. Under the current 12-hour shift, the corporals are not most of the time. The sergeant second class will be a structured longevity scale, and they'll get that. And the salaries in the current longevity will remain the same as the old structure. The captain's position will remain a tested rank with at least the rank of sergeant for 2 years, and that should be at the Clarksdale Police Department. I left that out of there. You're going to have to be a sergeant at the Clarksdale Police Department for 2 years and 8 years work experience total. That's law enforcement experience total. Assistant chiefs will remain the same. And just a little summary. I think the change will set forth a clear career ladder for any new officers and current officers that are employed at the police department. When we hire them, we're going to be able to tell them, this is where you're going to be in 6 years. If you stay with us for 6 years or 7 years, this is where you're going to be. It allows for the officers in the lower ranks to move up regardless whether we are able to give a test. Based on the budget, they're going to move up on this longevity time frame until they get to that sergeant position, and then they'll have to test for them. It's going to save a lot of money. It's going to save the council. It's going to save the police department. It's going to save the taxpayers every time we test, roughly $10,000 to $15,000. I think the process is going to build morale in the lower ranks that haven't had an opportunity to test due to the delays in the police department over the last 20 years. And I want to give you a good example. An officer starts. He works here 6 years. During that 6 years, he gets in one of these crazy active positions that nobody likes. Then he takes the test and fails it. So he goes back down to patrolman. Then if we don't test, we got another 5 or 6 years. So that officer could work here potentially 12, 15 years and never draw a promotion. And I do say to you, to the mayor and the council, that we have officers like that here now. And they need the rank and the pay. And that's why I'm asking for this.
Do you propose those officers who have been at, say, a private level for past the 2-year time period should go on and be promoted to corporal?
I would ask that they be promoted and receive that rank for the guys that have done the time here and are in those positions. for the, up to the rank of corporal. And then they would
have tests to go to sergeant. So
yes.
they would give them at least a corporal first and a
yes.
corporal
Well,
second.
think about this too, and this is very important. It's very important that the council understand this. An acting, let's just say we have an acting sergeant right now, or an acting corporal, or whatever. They have been acting so long that they're going to take the test above. If for some reason, and we'll see it on the next slide, if they fail the test, that means that they will drop back down to a patrolman, a decrease in pay, which is going to drop morale. And we all know that in the past we've had more people fail than we have passed. And I think that that would be drastic to make those officers go back down with those pay decreases. One thing, if we manage it properly, we won't have any more acting positions. We won't be coming in here saying, I need him to be an acting officer. It'll be clearly set up. For 7 years, this is going to be your career path. After that, you'll be able to test. Plus, we've retained them for that long. We've actually kept them here because they can see progress. They know where they're going. They know what their rate's going to be. And that's based on their work performance. It's based on their evaluations. Obviously, we'll look at that. The changes will not affect the upcoming promotional test because, I mean, we have some, right, we have some that are kind of in a weird position. The process will allow officers to test above the rank and fail to maintain a rank that applies to the new structure, and that's what I explained to you earlier. I think the changes will ensure a forward progress in the police department and should retain young officers. And again, I've spoken extensively with Curtis with this and these guys, and they all agree that it would probably be the best thing that's happened here in the last 20 years as far as knowing exactly where we're going. Because we've had guys work here a long time that had their just due. And I encourage my commanders, I ask y'all.
I want to ask you to ask them what they think about it now, all the officers in the room.
Mark, go ahead.
I'm well for it. I think the retention of new officers will be there. The history of the police department, the officers that we lose, whether they take another job or make a mistake, are patrolmen.
I got a question. I'd like to ask the young one back there. You've been here, what, a year, 2 years?
I'm going to recall on all of them. Go ahead, Chief. Recall on all the officers in the room. We got 4 more. Let's hear what they say about it.
I've been here since August of '03. I've never seen anything come across a table like this. I've seen young officers come here, somebody like Cleveland PD, or offer them just a little carrot and they'll run for it. DeSoto County, I think putting those chevrons on their shoulders will make their chest poke out more, and they'll be proud to wear that uniform other than staying here 5 or 6 years and looking like a brand new person coming aboard. I mean, corporal's not a supervisory position, so just let him, just let him be promoted to corporal. That gives him something to look forward to. And if somebody's got something to look forward to, they're going to stay here. We have a big turnover rate, and I think this will quell some of that.
Thank you.
I think it's a great idea.
Thanks, Captain.
Chief, all right.
You go with it. You can go with it. Talk to that corporal sitting next to you. Next to you.
Come there.
Oh, okay.
Well, if this passes, you will be one.
What I think this does is, like Captain Bridges says, I think this is going to help retain officers that are here. I've been at this police department my entire career. I've worked nowhere else. I'm probably the exception to the rule, though. You know, I was born and raised in this community. I love Clarksdale. I appreciate what the city did in giving me a job, and I'm trying to be as loyal as I can for that. But like I said, I'm a rare breed these days. And I think a lot of you dealt with some of the millennials that Chief was talking about. That loyalty isn't one of the factors. That's just part of how I was brought up and how you were brought up. That loyalty is in you too. What this will do, I think, will help retain those officers because they see, okay, I do see a progression where I can steadily increase my rank and my pay instead of, like Captain Bridges says, a Cleveland Police Department being able to hire one of our good officers. They got one of our good officers.
Yeah.
I really wish we could have kept him. I wish he would come back. And I think maybe this could have been something that could have helped retain him if we'd have had this in place at that time. Because it would have given him a little more money, plus given him a rank. And to me, he is someone that's also like me from this community, and probably would have gave that a lot of thought in weighing out his option whether to stay or go to Cleveland. So I do think this is a positive thing. The corporal position in the police department right now, we have it in investigations, and we have it in narcotics. Those particular positions, once you move into those positions, you become a corporal, but you're not supervising anybody. You answer to a sergeant and a captain in those divisions. Patrol, you do have 2 corporal ranks on patrol, and you'll have just 1 or 2 regular patrol officers that may be under them. So really, I don't know how much of a supervisor that position would be when you have 2 other higher ranking officers on that shift. So you've got 2 supervisors on a shift, being a captain and a sergeant, on a shift of 6 people. And I think our goal, and I think I can say this, our goal ultimately is to have 8 officers per shift. At least 8 officers per shift is our goal with the police department, if not more than that per patrol shift. So you've got 2 supervisors that are supervising 6 people. Now your span of control in most of your management classes, and the ones that I've been to, your span of control, they like to say, and even in your ICS training, they say span of control, they want it to be 5 to 6 people is what 1 supervisor should be on. So if we had those 2 supervisors, the captain and sergeant, that's over 6 to 8 people, you're right there somewhat in that range. So I think this is a great idea. It's not going to hurt anyone. All it's going to do is help anyone that has, the current people that are signed up to test for corporal, there's 9 people currently assigned to test. Those people, by the time we would give the test, all 9 people would be eligible for the rank. If y'all approve this proposal to where it's no longer a tested position, but after they meet the time frames, they should be, well, you said it was going to be 3 years for corporal. There would be 1 of the 8 that wouldn't qualify for the corporal position, but he would actually not even qualify under the current corporal guidelines to even test for the corporal position.
Thank you. Chief, call on the rest.
Mayor Barker said he didn't get to finish.
Chief.
Bill.
Well, I ain't much more to say. They just about covered everything. But I'm like Rob. I've been here all my career, over 22 years, and like I said, it's a loyalty thing. The city gave me a chance to work, and I took that chance, and I appreciate it. But I was here 6, 7, 8 years without anything on my shirt also until they gave corporate.
You're for this?
I am completely for it. And like I said, patrol is where we lose people. Investigators get upstairs, or the knock guys get in. They're not leaving. I lose my patrol. That's why I lose for retention, my patrol. And I think this right here is a program that'll keep them
good. Good. All right, Officer Conley, it looks like it's back toward you now.
Me personally, I'm all for it because, it's a morale builder, Like, I'm echoing captains, chief, assistant chief about.
You wearing anything on your arm over here now?
Not yet. I said not yet, but personally I believe it's a morale builder because you got somebody that's been there 10, 15 years and don't have rank, that's not good, and like you were saying about the testing coming around so many years, and if that person don't pass, he's stuck in that same rut for another 5 or 6 years, and somebody come and 2 years later they become a corporal, and man, I've been here 12 years and I don't have no rank. So, it'll kill a person's morale, and ultimately, I'm gonna have to leave and go somewhere else and find another job because
you're for this, aren't you?
I'm for it.
Good.
Sum it all up, I'm for it.
I'd like to say something. Seals.
We got Officer Stark.
Okay.
Last one, yes, sir.
Acting captain.
Yeah, acting. The ideal that Chief presented shows some stability into our rank structure and getting a better rank structure. The reason I say that, I'm one that I didn't stay here. I stayed here 12 years before I left for a quote-unquote better job with the state of Mississippi with the district attorney's office. The pay was a whole lot better. Plus, I was frustrated in not being in a position in where I thought I should be at. because there was no testing after I took the test the first time. And that was a good while. So it was frustrating, and where I was doing some of the job that the captain was doing then, and I'm not saying that he wasn't doing the job, but when he was sick, he was hurt, he was in the hospital, I was doing the job. But the idea shows a good stability, and I'm hoping that that you guys accept it, and maybe we can get rid of some of this acting position that we got now, because it just don't feel the same if you're not wearing the gold or the stripes or whatever. It just don't feel the same when the chief calls you a captain and you know you're not a captain because you're still wearing your sergeant stripe. So it's a good idea. I think it's stability in that, in this idea.
Thank you. I think Ward 1, questions?
No, I think it's a good idea. I know yourself and Commissioner Seals and myself has been in the military and still in the military, and every rank has a structure from the time you get in. You don't wear nothing, but after 3 months you get promoted to private. You get what we call mosquito wings, same thing that he's talking about. In the military, we just changed our rank structure on our uniform instead from a private on up, but to distinguish between the senior, your sergeant, and non-sergeant. And now when you dress blues, if you're an E5 or above, you wear the gold stripe, showing that you're a senior officer, and take the stripe off for somebody from an E4 down, which would be your corporal. They wouldn't wear the gold bars, stripes down, which distinguishes between the seniors and that. But I think it's a good idea, and I would make this motion for the board to accept this, because I think, like I said, it does. Everybody wants to wear a rank. At least when you come and you got a plan to show you progression, you know what level you can be in at 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. But just to wear a rank, you can tell a difference between somebody just got hired and somebody been here. So I think it's making a positive move. So I would definitely make a motion for this board to accept your change effective immediately.
Commissioner Murphy?
Chief Reed and I have spoken about this earlier, and I just believe what's good for the police department is good for Clarksdale. If we can build a little morale there, and I think it's just a good thing. So I'd second the motion.
All right, Chief. Excuse me, Commissioner Moten.
Chief Moten.
Chief Moten.
You got my job.
Commissioner, you're gonna sit here.
Acting chief.
Acting. Hey, it sounds all good. Anything to motivate the officers to do their job, I'm with it. We need that. We need the motivation in our Clarksdale Police Department to help solve some of these burglaries, these crimes that we're having around the city. And if it's going to motivate them and make them go beyond the call to duty, then yes, I'm with it.
Thank you. Chief Seals, anything to add or question?
Well, I guess I would like to say that the proposed rank structure would bring about more stability with the officers and would make them more productive. And as Commissioner Moten said, it perhaps will encourage them to solve more crime. I mean, they will work harder.
Yes.
It gives them a type of incentive to accomplish.
All right.
But I have a question
Go ahead.
regarding this structure, Chief.
Okay.
Within the rank structure, which officers will be specifically assigned to deal with gang violence or juvenile crime?
Everyone here. I mean, we have officers assigned in our special ops division, but I encourage all of them to get the intel, to listen, to watch. But we do have officers that are, the rank's not going to really apply to that. It's going to be what division they're assigned to. The rank's just going to go along with their years of service before the test. But like I'll have officers assigned to Captain Bridges and Assistant Chief Lindley that are the narcotics special ops and the detectives upstairs. These two gentlemen here, and they're going to be the ones that would get the information that you're talking about. One other thing, and this is important to me, and I want to make sure that I say it. The police department, like I said, somewhere it hadn't been before, but it's also fixing to go somewhere that's going to devastate it. I've talked to Curtis about this and he agrees. The rank structure's out of whack. We don't have any captains. You gonna retire? How long? Real short.
I could.
Real short. Real short. Real short. And I could name a whole bunch more. And all we got is these young guys. In 3 to 5 years, the 25 and 30-year veterans won't be here. And I'm gonna tell you what, I can't find anybody on that sheet that's employed that's got 8 years right now. So if we don't do something now, when these guys start retiring, we're gonna be back in where we were in the Danny Vick era, when all the captains left and the police department just went awry. And I know, Commissioner, you were on the council at that time, and we had problems. Because I was a young officer, and I mean, it was a very confusing time.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Comment?
Very briefly, and I have been involved, and we've done a lot of talking, and I think this is a very forward-thinking idea and very good. But it's the key to making it work too is you've got to get, there's no more acting.
Right.
The acting's got to go. No more acting positions. You're paid and you do the duties that you're assigned based on where you are in the system.
Yes.
We got to get rid of that. It won't work if acting is allowed to continue.
Well, I think this,
well, you won't need it. I mean, you won't, because the officers are going to steady. An officer can work here 7 years before he can ever even get a test. And hopefully, if the budgets roll right within that 7-year period, we should test at least twice.
all right.
Before you vote, I want to make
You
one
want to
thing
make one
clear.
further comment? I'm going to call a question after
Yeah,
you
this is
speak.
just one thing I want to make clear of what we're actually asking for on this proposed change. What we're asking for, so we don't, because we are currently in the middle of the current promotional testing. The only change we want to take effect immediately is the fact that making the corporal position a non-tested position.
Yes.
And then the other changes for sergeant and captain, those criteria of having to be a corporal, having to be a captain. Since we've already started the promotional testing, we go through with this current promotional testing, and after we finish, start those proposed changes after we get through with those 2 tests.
But the corporals who have the time of service
That would
still
take
get
effect.
that.
Yeah, that would take that. That would take effect immediately. If they had the time in, they would receive the rank.
Been moved and seconded to adopt and accept these proposed structure changes within the PD, especially those regarding promotion after time in service, testing for sergeant up, and no more acting positions improperly managed. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you for that presentation.
And I guess you'll get, for the next meeting, anybody in the corporal.
We'll get it structured and Curtis will have it.
Thank you, officers, for your comments too. I appreciate all of you for chiming in on this. We needed to know where you stood on it. Next on the agenda, please.
Mayor, before we go to the next on the agenda, wasn't the, we supposed to be able to ask the chief questions there? He didn't do it in the regular section. He said he was doing it.
Well, that's fair. You can ask him a question. We've got a couple of minutes to do that. Although I'm told the weather's deteriorating.
Bad out there.
Chief, answer Commissioner Mo's
Yes, sir.
questions.
I lost my notepad.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
Before coming to, well, let me ask you this, Chief. I'm reading the newspaper. If I'm reading the newspaper correctly, my understanding that you are running for sheriff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You do plan to leave Clarksdale Police Department if you win?
If I win, I mean, it's a if. I mean, I wouldn't have a choice. I would have to.
Let me ask you this, Chief. How many years? I mean, when Clarksdale Mayor Espy and his board hired you, what were your rank then when they hired? When
the
you
first
hired?
time, I did 17 years here the first time.
I understand that you are speaking in terms of your position. What position were you before you were the chief of police?
Well, I was a lieutenant with the state. I was a sergeant here as an acting captain. I came back as a corporal, and then I was promoted to chief.
So from a corporal, you went to a chief?
Yes, from here.
Wow, man, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Me too. I was blessed.
That was amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, Chief, the point I'm trying to get with is that it's very, 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 the word I'm looking for is unusual that someone can go from that particular rank to be the chief of police there. And now you are asking this council to set aside and let you run to be the sheriff. You know, we want to be protected here in Clarksdale. We don't want you to be out here and talking about sheriff and stuff like that. And citizens need you to be here with us. We need you.
I'll be here. I'm gonna do the best I can do. I'm gonna work hard. I mean, my heart's in law enforcement. You know, sometimes people get lucky. The sheriff himself got lucky. He was just a deputy when he was elected chief of Friday Point, and then he's a sheriff. I mean, I've had a 26-year career. I'm well educated. You know, I made lieutenant with the state of Mississippi in 6 years. That's the fastest ever. I ran the state academy. My education is very good. And I'm fortunate to be here. And you know.
One more question then, Chief, and I'm through. So therefore, what if you are unlucky?
I'll just win just as humble or lose just as humble.
But do you expect to come back to Clarksdale? You think Clarksdale gonna wait on you running? The Board of Mayor Commission gonna wait on you running for being the chief? I mean, being the sheriff of the county?
If I lose, I won't go anywhere. Hopefully, y'all keep me. I hope you will. I mean, I'll be right here, just keep right on truck. It wouldn't make any sense for me to do bad. I mean, I'm only gonna do better.
Okay,
well, I'm gonna work hard, man. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna do the best job I can do wherever I'm at. But
got a pretty good team on you.
I mean, these guys work hard just like today. I mean, I'm constantly thinking about these officers and what I can do.
Right. I'm just concerned, Chief, that we're gonna be at a standstill while you out there running for chief there. I'm not telling what's gonna happen.
I'm gonna be doing good. I mean, he's got to run his, so he's gonna got to do his thing too. And the way I understand it, one of his top dogs is running for sheriff 2 counties over, so he's gonna be in a worse position than I am. My guys are gonna be right here working hard every day.
Let's wrap that up. I'm getting notification. We need to move on with this meeting. Next on the agenda, please.
Permission for Marvin McRae to attend the State Fire Academy.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Permission to set hearings.
And we've got 5 properties, including that one Commissioner Seals.
So moved. Set hearings.
It's been moved, and I'll regard Commissioner Seals as the second. Any comments or questions? All in favor of the motion to set these 5 properties for hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Carried.
Need to deny the claim of Destiny Hopkins Brown.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, I studied this as well. This was not on a tree list, and it was during an ice storm that a limb fell on the back of a car, I believe. All in favor of this, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries to deny that particular claim.
Deny the claim of Eddie Marbley.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded to deny a claim on the basis that the city was not aware of this pothole that was created by a utility cut. Any question or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carried to deny the claim.
Deny the claim of Kendrick Travis.
So moved.
Second.
Another pothole claim. The city aware of this pothole? Was it created by us? Are you aware of it? You're saying no by your head shake, Mr. Jones. All right. Any discussion or comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carried to deny the claim.
Question on that pothole there. What was that located at?
East Tallahatchie.
East on the corner of East Tallahatchie and what?
Edge of the street.
No, way down there closer to Hobson.
Edge of the road down there.
Well, let me say this. There are several potholes that's on East Tallahatchie. And I'm putting Todd on notice now that they need to be repaired immediately. Now, if they're not repaired within the next 30 days, then we allow them. So I'm putting Todd on notice that he needs to take care of those potholes. Thanks, Todd.
Permission for the city clerk to issue a warrant in the amount of $1,000 to Mississippi Delta National Heritage Area.
So move.
Second.
This is a promotion of this established Delta National Heritage Area that Congressman Thompson, I think, announced last year. Is that correct, Mr. Crank?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. All right, 2 years ago.
Plan was released last year.
Been moved and seconded to allow issue of a warrant of $1,000 to help promote this creative economy in this heritage area. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Carried. Mr. Coker, I see you're next.
No business. Thank you.
Question for Mr. Coker though. Is everything over with? We didn't get it this time again as far as
It's not over yet. They hadn't even done site visits, so we're still in the game.
Good. All right, sir. Mr. Attorney, any business out of your department?
No, sir.
Okay, we're at the end of the regular agenda, and I don't see any need for executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. We stand adjourned.